This is Audio Gyan, and I am your host Kedar Nimkar. Welcome to a deep dive into the minds of luminaries from the Indian creative world. Today we have Avanti Patel with us on Audio Gyan. Avanti is a Hindustani classical vocalist. She also teaches music. We are going to touch upon some basic aspects of Thumri and its allied forms in relation to the show O Gaane Wali, which is making news these days. So thanks, Avanti, for giving your time. It's a real pleasure to have you on Audio Gyan.
Thank you, Kedar. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so as I said, it will be mostly covering some basics about Thumri and
Right.
some fundamentals, and obviously documenting O Gaane Wali.
Absolutely.
In Audio Gyan, I have three formats: Audio Gyan regular interviews,
Mhm.
a case study, and a biography. In case study, generally I try to go or deep dive into this particular project, and would love to hear nuances about it as well.
For sure.
Cool. So to begin with, if you can start by letting us know, how did you get into Thumri and how did you get into music rather, and in O Gaane Wali, why Thumri or something like that.
Right. So, how did I get into music? Interesting question. I don't think I remember. So, I was actually born in Leeds in the UK, and my mum sings. She has done her Sangeet Visharad. She's also a urologist. So, she was finishing her FRCS urology in the UK, and that's where I was born. And apparently, I was very tuneful. So I used to sing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Stars in tune. And she sort of saw the talent. And we came back to India when I was 3 years old. And I started learning when I was 5 years old.
Wow.
So I started learning music from Varsha Bhaveji, who is in Dadar Shivaji Park. And we started with some basics, songs, things that kids would enjoy. And before I knew it, I had started learning Hindustani classical. And that was how she would teach, Her whole speciality is that she'll teach children. And before they know it, they're singing notation. So from there, I did my Sangeet Visharad eventually. And in 2008, when I was 13, I was in a reality show. And it was a Marathi reality show. In that reality show, a lot of people would say, oh, your voice sounds like it will go very nicely with Thumri. अब 13-year-old को क्या मालूम ठुमरी क्या है कैसा है right? And that was the first time I was actually forced to listen to this form.
Oh.
And I loved it. I realized that I was enjoying what was happening as a listener, and that as an artist, I think slowly started to come into my music as well. And I finished my Hindustani classical Visharad, then I did my MA, and through this entire time, Thumri has been very close to my heart as a listener, not necessarily as something that I thought I would do anything in. And through that exploration, I started going to Rajashri Pathak Kelkar to learn Thumri. She is Shobha Gurtu's disciple. She and Dhanashri Pandit Rai are actually colleagues, Guru Bahens. And I gained a lot from her. And eventually I started learning in 2018 from Ashwini Bhide Deshpandeji. And she also has a lot of background in this form because of her aunt, Sarla Bhide, who used to learn from Shobha Guru. So that is how the sort of learning in Thumri began for me. So that's how Thumri. And O Gaane Wali actually was a fluke, huh? So all this learning and all started, and I didn't think I'd do much with it in the sense that it was something I loved. I didn't know how many listeners were out there who would actually enjoy this form. And I would keep learning new things, keep exploring different aspects of the form. And in the middle of the pandemic, there was a call for applications on Instagram, which I saw, Goethe Institute. And I said, chalo, dalte hai kuch, let's see what happens. And I just sent in an application. I had no, they said that even if you have an idea, you can put it. So I said, okay, a show based on Thumri, where we talk about the Tawaifs, we talk about Thumri as a form. That was my basic idea. And they approved of it. They really enjoyed it, the idea. And then they said, chalo, 1 mahine mein show karo. I said, arre, this is a big topic. I need a lot of time to do the research. So I didn't get the time, unfortunately. But luckily, all that gyan that I had gained through the listening process since I was 13 helped. And somewhere I already knew a lot more organically without having to read about it. And then everything I was reading was like a confirmation of everything I knew. Ki haan, okay, I know this. Good, validation.
And your MA in
Hindustani classical
Hindustani
vocals.
classical. Okay.
Yes.
So that helped?
No. No, but I mean, I was never looking at the MA as something to help with Thumri Dadra as a topic. Because MA is a very broad degree here. So we do a lot of things. We even did Carnatic music in MA. Mujhe nahi aata, lekin, you know. So within a month, we put together a nice little show. I wrote something rudimentary. And I knew the artists that I wanted on board, which was, I think, one of the best things for the show. Because looking back, I feel like the show is nothing without them. You know, it's a perfect curation of the kind of people who would make something like this work. And we did 3 online shows in January 2021. So I wrote to them. I mean, I applied for the grant in December 2020. Show happened on 23rd, 24th and 25th January 2021.
Wow.
But that was that. And after we did the online show, the pandemic was very much still happening. Live performances hadn't begun. But we started applying to different venues, sent the show to different people for feedback. And then March 2022, finally, we performed the first live show in NCPA.
Okay.
So that's been the short journey of O Gaane Wali. That's how it happened.
Nice. But it's whatever you pitched had a Thumri backdrop is because of your inclination and exposure to.
Correct. Because of my love as a listener, I would say, not even as an artist. Because even now, there is so much nuance in the form, in the vocal aspect of the form, the improvisation, that I still feel there's so much to learn. But I love it so much that I wanted to do something. This has some jaan in it, which, you know, you can't describe it. If you're present, you're listening to it and you feel it, that's it. Khatam. That's all you need.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and sorry to just sort of deviate a bit, but in the feedback which people gave looking at the first 2-3 shows, how are you sort of reconciling? Because when you listen to Begum Akhtar or Iqbal Bhano, they have very heavy voices, while you and Rutuja have slightly, I mean, because of the age and because of certain other dynamics, the voice is different, right? So how are you like making peace with it? Am I doing justice?
So that was the biggest thing as artists, that we were little scared initially. Ki baapre, we're putting our hands into this ocean. You know, I don't know what's going to come out of it. But I think for me, the bigger aspect was that we are honoring the art that they made. We are adapting to it. We are creating something that is a midway between what they gave us as artists and what the audience today will enjoy, without compromising, of course, on the gaiki. So our voices are, of course, different. You know, if I sing a Lata Mangeshkar song, it's not going to sound like Lata Didi. But I can still sing the harkats because I have learned how to sing it. Same thing will apply here. I am not Begum Akhtar. I shouldn't even aspire to imitate Begum Akhtar. Correct. That would ruin the entire essence of what we are trying to do. So what is it that we can take from her gaiki, imbibe into our gaiki, and present it as improvised original forms? None of these are rehearsed. They're all improvised. So if you come for a different show, or if you come for the rehearsal of the show, what you hear and what you hear on the show day, very different. In terms of variations and alaps. It's all spontaneous.
And that's part of Hindustani classical
exactly,
music.
Which is what is the essence of it. So at no point did I want it to feel like ye kuch ghisa pita imitative art hai. No, it has to feel organic. It has to feel, that's the jaan of a baithak.
Correct. Yeah, but when you, like, after I witnessed the show 2 days ago in Harkat Studios, and when I was going back, I was listening to Begum Akhtar, and you don't see any gimmicks. It just very sort of, but it still gives that emotion and
absolutely. You're bang on.
Yeah, so can you talk a little bit about the musicality portion of Thumri? I mean, it's associated with Shrungar.
Correct.
And so any nuances that you can share?
So musically speaking, Thumri as a form isn't as alive now as it used to be, I would say. like you said, their voices were different because the voices would carry the dard. You know, that broad voice, that little crack in the voice, all of these aspects, I feel somewhere can be manufactured if you want to create it. Because as musicians, we are also voice artists. You can imitate. But that comes from the emotion, that comes from Shringar, that comes from Viraha, that comes from the longing that these texts have innately. Other than that, it's close to Hindustani classical music, meaning that it is based on rags. You will not find a very strangely composed or atrangi tune in a thumri because it comes from the same base, kahin na kahin. So it is all rag based. You will find, of course, deviations in the variations that are done. In the improvisations, you're allowed to leave the rag and come back. But your bass tune will very often be a very familiar rag tune. Okay. And coming to the harkats, the phrasing of the singing, usme bhi khyal mein you can do long improvisations. You can sit for hours and sing it. But this form is only say 10-15 minutes per piece.
No, so I wanted to ask this piece as well. Ki this is like 10-15 minutes. Even the songs in O Gaane Wali are shorter.
Correct.
Unlike Khayal.
Correct.
So is it because of it was sort of improvised in the early 1900s and because of the gramophone and like
No, I would say there are lots of factors. Mainly, one of the main factors is the Tawaifs or the Baijis received talim from Khan Sahibs. They received talim from Gharana Khan Sahibs. But they would hold back because unfortunately they were still Tawaifs and their status was that of women performers, not male ustads. So they would not teach them the entire content.
Wow.
हाथ रख के ऐसे जो होता है कम सिखाते थे. So they would sing Khyal as well. But these forms were short anyway. They would always be after a Khyal. So I would say that is one of the factors. The Baijis who did sing Khyal and recorded for the gramophone company had to themselves figure out how to condense it. There was no one teaching them कि अच्छा ये काटो, इसको edit करो और ये गा लो. ऐसे नहीं था. So Kesarbai Kerkar, for example, amazingly you'll still find the recordings available even on YouTube.
Yeah.
Perfectly condensed without compromising the rag, without compromising the elements that should be in Khyal. Still presented in 3 minutes. So I would say Thumri Dadra because it comes after classical music in a performance. उसका वो उतना ही था ड्यूरेशन. एंड ऑफ कोर्स उनको दिया ही नहीं इसके आगे. ज्ञान ही नहीं दिया, इतना ही दिया. तो जितना दिया उतना परफॉर्म किया.
Correct. And say if we take this example which I was listening few days ago, Deewana bana hai to Deewana. So it feels almost very like there are just two lines which are sung in a proper meter or something. The rest all is very free flowing.
Correct.
So how did that? It was improvisation by the artist or? So
because we are speaking about this particular composition and Begum Akhtar, I would say she really added to ghazal as a form. तो उसके पहले all the Baijis, all the Tawaifs, they were singing Thumri, Dadra, they were singing folk forms, but ghazal गाया नहीं जाता था इतना commonly. Begum Akhtar जी ने वो बदल दिया. So her ghazal gaiki is also very close to Thumri Dadra gaiki, in which you can actually let the tal go, do your improvisation and come back to the sum. Same, the first beat, same way that you do in Hindustani Khyal singing. So your Vilambit Thumris that are Vilambit Deepchandi, 14 beats long, lamba cycle chal raha hai tal ka. In that, the logic is very similar to that of Khyal singing, where you come back to the sum. Bas, beech mein jo karna hai karo. So that was Begum Akhtar ji's style. And from that context, she sang ghazals.
Interesting. Actually, it's spinning a lot of questions. In fact, on some, when you mentioned, I was in the show and I wanted to ask you, you said like it's a more interactive show. And I wanted to ask you that the way they sort of make a very pronounced thing in Khayal, is it a similar thing or it is consciously not very? Because I could see a lot of interaction between you and the tabla player,
correct.
But the sum was not very pronounced. It was conscious.
See, the tals that we picked, because also we did a show which should appeal to as many people as possible. We didn't pick Vilambit tals. We picked shorter tals. So sum keeps coming. With a Vilambit tal or with a Khyal, एक सम आने के लिए 2 मिनट जाते हैं,
Hmm.
उसके बाद एक बार सम आती है. So the wow moment has to be, you have to hold your horses for 2 minutes till the improvisation is done, only then you can say wow.
Hmm.
But in the forms we were presenting that day, very short,
Hmm.
quick tals. So sum का आना is no big deal. अभी आया फिर से आएगा.
Correct. Oh, I thought it's embedded because of the art form itself.
ताल का उसमें ज्यादा, बिकॉज जब दीपचंदी में ठुमरी होती है, विलंबित दीपचंदी में, तब सिमिलर है
Hmm.
कि सम पे आए.
Hmm.
That is more pronounced.
Got it. Yeah, so you're continuing about the musical aspect of Thumri.
Yeah, so that's basically it, you know. Begum Akhtar ji's ghazal was inspired by her Thumri Dadra training. And which is why if you listen to ghazals today, or even if you listen to Mehdi Hasan ji, Ghulam Ali ji, their ghazals, the musical aspect is very different, right? She would sing a ghazal like she was singing a Thumri. And that is the supposed Purab Ang Gaiki that we talk about.
Yeah, speaking about which, if you can tell the two angs also.
Right. So very broadly, of course, there are nuances in this as well. Very broadly, Thumri can be classified into Purab Ang and Punjab Ang. Purab Ang was what the Tawaifs popularized. That was their Gaiki essentially. And everyone, right? Begum Akhtar ji ne to gaya hi hai, but Rasulan Bai, Siddheshwari Devi, Zohra Bai, Janki Bai Agrewali, all of these women, they sang Purab Ang ki Thumri.
Shobha Gurtu and
Shobha Gurtu also. But Shobha Gurtu, in terms of the timeline, is more recent. Even Gohar Jan, she sang Purab Ang. So these are a little more into early 1900s, late 1800s timeline wise. And Punjab Ang ki Thumri came a little later, because it came only after these folk forms were sort of taken up by the ustads. They were like, yaar, ye Bai ji kuch अच्छा गा रहे हैं, अब हमें भी concert में ये गाना है. And that's how the forms were classicalized. Patiala Gharana influence happened. And that is how Punjab Ang Thumri was born. Punjab Ang Thumri, apparently, women didn't sing as much. So Nirmala Devi, Lakshmi Shankar are very rare examples of women singing Punjab Ang Thumri. क्योंकि वो उस्तादों ने ही लिया. उस्तादों ने ठुमरी को अपना कैसे बनाया, पंजाब अंग करके.
And this was, you're saying, late 1800s or 1900s?
No, this was already in the 1900s.
Okay, which is Bade Ghulam Ali and Abdul Karim Khan.
Correct. Yeah. Because if you look at the Gramophone Company, Gramophone India में 1902 में आया. That is when the first recordings took place. And at that time, only women were recording on the gramophone for multiple reasons. Later on, men ko FOMO hone lag gaya. So the ustads also started recording. In fact, Mallikarjun Mansoor has recorded on the gramophone. And he's tried
Thumri.
to sing... nahi, Chota Khyal, not Thumri. Because Kesar Bhai Kerkar and all were singing Khyal also on the gramophone. So he's recorded something. But in order to appeal to the people who were listening to these records, he sung it in a much higher pitch. But still it didn't do as well. And he sang a Thumri, I don't remember which one, but one that was already made famous by Janki Bai. Much later. So you see, they took on, they sort of hopped onto the trend much later, the ustads. So Punjab Ang is a more classicalized, in an aesthetic sense, you'd say more sophisticated style of Thumri Gaiki.
Interesting.
Okay, let's take a short break here. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back to the show.
You also mentioned about the dard and sort of the texture or the quality of voice, right? I was listening to one interesting YouTube video by Dr. Ashok Ranade, ethnomusicology or something.
Ethnomusicology.
Ethnomusicology. Yeah, sorry, my bad. And in that he said it's also biologically different because they don't eat ghee, or the Lavani singers used to eat a lot of mirchi, and that was the food dietary habits, and that also lends to a lot of musical texture that you have.
I wouldn't have any context on this, but I'm sure if he studied it, then yes, might be.
Cool. Yeah, and when you mentioned about Gohar Jan and Nirmala Bai, can you paint us a little landscape of where these women are placed, and some bits which you shared in the show. O Gaane Wali.
Sure. So, of course, Gohar Jan was an exception. She was really rich. She was one of those women who took the Tawaif industry by storm.
Hmm.
But these musicians had very rich patrons. That's the first thing. Another interesting aspect of their lives was they were Muslim women mostly, Tawaifs. But in their households, the other women who were born, who weren't inducted into the profession, would get married, and sometimes they would marry Hindu men also.
Hmm.
And then very often the men were raised Hindu. And this is another very interesting coexistence of religion, pre-independence, of course, all of this, where the religions weren't as polarized, I would say.
Hmm.
And especially in Banaras, in Lucknow, in Awadh-speaking parts of North India, all of this was very common. So that is the cultural part of it. It was a matrilineal profession. Matlab, they wanted to have daughters. If they didn't have daughters, then they would feel, ab ghar ka kharcha kaise niklega? Because women were the breadwinners in these Tawaif households. And their whole thought process was that they will work through their youth till about their 30, 35 age and then retire. Until then, they should have amassed enough wealth for a retirement fund for themselves and their families. So you can imagine the kind of money they wanted to make, the drive to make money, because they knew after 35 their profession was over, right? Now, in terms of their lifestyle, the art in itself was a lavish one, right? Thumri, Kathak, court music se ye aaya hai. Courtesans, as the word also suggests. So the kind of setup for it was also very lavish. They had so many people giving them gifts. The patrons were usually Rajas, Maharajas from different parts of North India who would come, even the rest of the country. They would visit, they were traveling to North India, chalo, kisi 3 mahine ke liye nikah kar liya kisi Tawaif ke saath. Temporary marriages was a thing. They would get married for 3 months, contractually. So all of these things were also legally sanctioned. ऐसे नहीं कि ये ऐसे ही हो रहा है.
ज़्यादा liberal थे अभी से.
बहुत ही अलग था. The landscape was very different. Political landscape was very different. Culturally, things were very different. And yeah, they would have multiple wives. The wives would have usually one patron at a time. They wouldn't have multiple patrons. So if they've entered into a 3-month contract with one patron, then they would be loyal to that patron. Which is the major distinction between Tawaifs and sex workers, which people don't really, look into as a nuance. And because of the kind of gifts they would receive, they also were performers, so they had to look a certain way. Saris, jewelry, उनके कोठों पे जो डेकोरेशन होता था वो भी एक टाइप का होता था. यूजुअली आईने होते थे, मिरर्स होते थे, so that it looked grand as a performance space. So all of these things were a part of their everyday life.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Gaur Jan?
So Gaur Jan was, she was one of those rare examples of women who was very rich, who had a lot of money. She, in fact, had a horse carriage in Calcutta when, the governor was British at that time. और इंडियंस को हॉर्स कैरेज वगैरह अलाउड ही नहीं था. बट शी हैड हर ओन हॉर्स कैरेज. उसमें भी कुछ था कि 6 horses वाला हॉर्स कैरेज अलाउड नहीं है, सिर्फ 2 वाला अलाउड है, सम नॉनसेंस लाइक दैट. But yeah, this was all a marker of the kind of life she lived. She would travel extensively. She was invited to different courts. The kind of money she was offered to, record songs was exorbitant at that time. She would charge, I think, 2,000 to 3,000 rupees per recording.
Wow.
She had a contract of 30,000 rupees with the gramophone company. So these are all, small markers of course, उसमें लोगों ने लिखते हुए थोड़ा सा नमक मिर्ची डाल के भी लिखा हो सकता है about, like I share this story about her kittens. She had kittens. And she wanted to throw a party and she spent 20,000 rupees on it. So it's written and documented, but like I said, उसमें थोड़ा सा नमक मिर्ची हो सकता है. But that was the life she had.
So any reason why this, I don't know whether this is getting too deep, but why the men were not sort of, as in like ये men को FOMO हुआ?
वो बहुत बाद में हुआ.
नहीं वो होने थे like they couldn't anticipate, or they couldn't see it, or they were not just willing to accept what these guys, like these women are doing?
So if you're talking specifically of the gramophone period and the
Hmm.
recording period,
Hmm.
it was a change. And people generally are very averse to change. Especially ustads who already had their own घरानेदार गायकी system. For them, ये तवाइफें कर रही है, हम नहीं करेंगे. हम अपना art नहीं बेचेंगे. That was the logic, right? So for them, this was something to be looked down upon. This was something that the wives were doing. The wives otherwise are known as prostitutes for them.
Hmm.
So they don't want to be associated with that.
Hmm.
That was the whole attitude. But the moment their music started gaining so much popularity with the gramophone company, that's when these people saw that they're missing out on an economic opportunity. That's how things shifted in terms of the gramophone company.
And also, speaking about change, I think I was listening to this Mallikarjun's versus talk itself. Like, someone was telling that even they didn't feel comfortable like recording in a
Yeah,
in an
not at
empty
all.
space where there's no audience.
Not at all.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing, you know. All of these aspects, they were not as quick to adapt. Whereas the Ganewalis or the Tawaifs were very quick to adapt because they didn't have anything to lose. Socially speaking, they already were at a place where, other than a certain class of people, no one was respecting them.
Hmm.
So they knew they had to do everything in their power to make money.
More
Retirement
fearless.
fund.
Yeah, more fearless
They
and
were
focused, I
fully,
think.
and they were also entrepreneurs. They were born entrepreneurs. Like I said, you know, so usually what would happen in a Tawaif household is an older woman would be sort of they were called Chaudhariyans. They would be the managers of the entire kotha. And they would oversee the economics. They would oversee kahan pe concert karna hai, kaun patron hona chahiye. So they were adept at all of this. They were managing a household and a business. They were managing artists, right? Khan Sahibs were not doing that. So even as an approach to the art, it was very different for the Tawaifs.
And in the show, you mentioned that the managers or the Chaudhariyans used to train properly,
Correct.
send them to different Khan Sahib.
Correct.
So any anything to share there with
So
respect
I
to
think Gauhar Jan's story is very interesting.
Yeah.
So
Just to add to that question, was it sort of very economically because ये अभी career करना है, या also for the art form itself, right? Like pure singing, pure voice culture and those kind of things, or it was very
I wouldn't know, I mean, of course, their thought process, but from what I understand, I think it was more of an economic proposition. Because it was like कि यहाँ invest करेंगे तो future में पैसा आएगा.
नहीं, but quality भी चाहिए ना, like they
So
strive
of course,
for, yeah.
in a family, if there were 3 daughters born, for example, they would pick who would become a Tawaif.
Oh.
And then right from her diet to her socialization to the education she received, the talim she received, very different from the other women. The other women were prepared for marriage, whereas she was prepared for this profession. She was asked to eat more protein. She was asked to eat meat. All of these are very small things, but these are the nuances. She was given talim in that art form. She was sent to different gurujis to learn Kathak, to learn Hindustani classical music. सारंगिया आके उनको सिखाते थे initially. So ये जो atmosphere था, वो एक घर के अंदर भी the chosen for the profession woman versus the other women.
So much to learn, because these days अगर दो भाई बहन में भी, like if one wants to be athlete, I think they're feeding the same. Yeah. And can you share something about I was very fascinated to know that they used to play tabla tying to their vest and standing and then playing like, was this sort of very normal those days to play and accompany these dancers?
Yeah, because see, we're talking about a time when recorded music तो था ही नहीं ना, तो कुछ भी perform करना है तो वो सब live ही होता था. Now Tawaifs were also trained in Kathak. There used to be a khadi mehfil. This was mainly in Wajid Ali Shah's court. So Kathak was a big deal in Wajid Ali Shah's court. He was a patron of the arts. And
this is 1900s. Yeah.
Right? And the tabalji and the sarangiya would also stand, have their instruments, and जो तत्कार होता था उसमें the baiji would move ahead and come behind while doing the footwork. And they would also accompany her. बिकॉज ऐसा ना हो कि बाई जी बहुत आगे जाके नाच रही है और म्यूजिक पीछे चल रहा है.
Wow.
तो वो एक पूरा एक्सपीरियंस था, परफॉर्मेंस वाला एक्सपीरियंस था.
Yeah, I think something to be more understood. Cool. I think yeah, I mean there is lot to unpack in this itself, and lot to learn about the art form itself. But just to conclude, Avanti, I was thinking like if you compare Khayal,
Hmm.
Tumri sort of, yeah, I don't know, but seems to be relatively new, right? So anything that you can share, what happened to his journey, how are artists improvising
Hmm.
from the last 100 years, and what sort of future does it have? I hope Gaane Wali educates and makes people sensitive about this overall form. But any thoughts of like how will it go and how last 100 years it has been?
Right. So I don't know about Thumri being new. Okay,
Hmm.
because Thumri has roots in folk music, basically.
Correct.
Right? And Khyal singing is in fact relatively new. Because pre-Khyal singing, Drupad Dhamar was what was performed as Hindustani classical music. And it was mainly performed in temples. When the music moved to the courts is when Khyal Gaiki became a thing. Uske pehle Khyal Gaiki was not. So the Mughal invasion has a lot to do with this. Right? So Khyal as a form, again, the Ustads were the ones singing it. So women didn't really have access to Khyal Gaiki. And even the women who did have access were looked down upon because they were गाने वाली और नाचने वाली औरतें. तो जो फोक फॉर्म से इन्फ्लुएंस होके बनी है ठुमरी, वो मुझे नहीं लगता पुरानी नई है. वो इनफैक्ट पैरेलली ही इवॉल्व हुआ है. Just that the wives were not allowed to sing Khyal. They were not taught Khyal. The ustads were singing Khyal. Court musician
when I
as a
say- when I say-
woman, have you heard?
Sorry?
Have you heard a court musician being a woman? Men were appointed, employed as court musician. Women were the wives. They had their quotas. So that was, I think the forms evolved in two very different spaces, I would say. Khyal had an academic sort of approach. Thumri had an affective approach, emotive approach. That's the difference.
And when you, like, I understand when you say that it was not new because chalo, the bandish and the lyrical content must have been for whatever.
Or if you even compare the Khyal का lyrical content and Thumri का lyrical content, बहुत similar है. क्योंकि eventually जो ठुमरिया थी वो बंदिशें ही थी. So उसमें difference वैसा बहुत ही कम है in terms of the content.
Got it. And what's like, I
In
know
terms
it's
of the
future.
last 100 years, I mean, I don't know how the form, I'm sure it has gone through a lot of ups and downs. Because I would say what I heard as Thumri wasn't mainstream music when I was growing up. Right? People around me were not listening to this music. Even those who liked classical music were listening to Khyal. So, पता नहीं ठुमरी कहीं पे खो गई ऐसे लगता है मुझे.
और ये गजल के माध्यम से वापस आई थोड़ी, because my exposure to music was Ghulam Ali and listening to.
Correct, exactly, गुलाम अली. राइट. तो गजल के माध्यम से भी जो आगे आया वो एक बहुत अलग टाइप का गजल था, अलग टाइप की गजल थी. वो पंजाबंग की इंस्पायर्ड गजल थी जिसमें ज्यादा थिएट्रिक्स थे. बेगम अख्तर जी की जो गजल थी उसमें ज्यादा दर्द था. वो वाली गजलें कहीं खो गई. Even if you listen to any contemporary musicians' ghazals today, you will find that there is more theatrics, more sophistication in terms of the musical approach. Not the rawness and the dard that you would have found in Begum Akhtar ji's gaiki. So those are two different aspects, I'd say, which musically has overgone change over the last couple of years. So ऐसे नहीं कि ठुमरी दादरा गजल खो गए हैं, अलग टाइप से आज हमें पेश आते हैं. And the true ठुमरी that a lot of people would say, or the true ghazal gaiki of Begum Akhtar ji, I think it's very rare to find that now among practicing musicians. Very few examples. But it's there, of course. It's not gone. If you're looking for it, you'll find it easily.
Yeah. And also when you find it, I think this is my tip as a listener, is that you have to listen to acquire that taste. थोड़ा time तो जाएगा, बार-बार सुनना पड़ेगा. Otherwise, at first, if you listen to Begum Akhtar, I think you are taken aback as to where is this heading, what are these ups and downs. There's no, I mean, yeah, you listen and you'll figure out. And sorry, I wanted to just go back for one more question. Is that there are these different forms, right? Thumri, Chaiti. If you can just give like a quick brief.
Right. So Thumri can be the closest to Khyal in terms of the way it was presented. तो ठुमरी को एक बेस बनाते हैं, right? Similar to Thumri but slightly shorter in its time and faster in space is Dadra. Now, a lot of other folk forms that have been classicalized will include Chaiti, Hori, Kajri, Sawan, Jhula. Okay, all of these have to do with the different seasons.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah. And तवाइफों को इनवाइट किया जाता था लोगों के घर पे इन सीजन्स में कि आप आके परफॉर्म कीजिए कजरी. अब बारिश का मौसम आ गया है, आप कजरी परफॉर्म कीजिए, आप झूला परफॉर्म कीजिए. चैत मास है तो आप चैती परफॉर्म कीजिए, राइट? रामनवमी के टाइम चैती परफॉर्म कीजिए. सो दीज वर द वेज इन विच द वाइफ्स वर इनवाइटेड टू पीपल्स होम्स. And so these forms basically were classicalized. They're all very, you know how we say paramparik, traditional folk tunes. So चैती का एक ट्यून है, अलग अलग लिरिक्स है लेकिन ट्यून एक ही है. दा रा 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 रा, यही है ट्यून सेम. So that's that folk म्यूजिक से इंस्पायर्ड ट्यून जो अभी भी है चैती में.
Thank you for singing also. I think yeah, this is a good note to end. I think all power to O Gaane Wali.
Thank you so
have
much.
more shows and entertain and also of course educate about Thumri as an art
We
form.
are also learning through the show, which I think is such an amazing thing that as an artist I am getting to explore. Every time I do a new run of the show, every time there's a little gap between our shows, I'm just hunting for more content that I can add, more nuance that I can add, change the compositions based on the seasons. So all of this is how I think the show can grow. And that's how as performers we will never get bored. There'll always be more to explore and more to learn.
Yeah. And the best part which I found is that you're weaving in little nuances which make you more sensitive to the art form with like a light sort of approach to it, not
our
heavy
whole
academic,
idea is that if someone who has no idea what this show is all about comes and sits with us for 2 hours, they shouldn't be bored.
Yeah.
So any of my friends who don't really listen to classical music, if they come for my show, I ask them, were you bored? No. I said, no, don't say that because I'm your friend. I'm genuinely asking you because as people making the show, this is crucial.
Correct.
We want to introduce this to as many people who have no idea about it as possible. जिनको गाना पसंद है उनको तो पसंद ही आएगा क्योंकि हमने वही किया है पूरे लाइफ में, हमने सीखा है वो. लेकिन जिनको मालूम ही नहीं है ये क्या है, उनको भी पसंद आना चाहिए.
Cool. All the best for
Thank
that.
You,
and
Kedar.
Once again, very, very thanks for being on AudioGAN and sharing.
No, thank you for having me. I mean, we're all doing something new. And it's nice that it's getting appreciated and people want to know more about it. So that's amazing for me. Thank you so much.
Cool. Thanks. And that's it from today's GAN session. For show notes and more GAN, visit audiogan.com. If you like this podcast, please don't forget to check our other interesting podcast on IVM Network. You can listen to us on IVM Podcast app, ivmpodcast.com, or any of your favorite podcasting apps. To stay tuned, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at IVM Podcast. And if you wish to connect with me, I am at AudioGAN Moments on Instagram. Until then, take care.